How's it going, guys? I almost fell. Today I'm gonna be reviewing a movie for you guys, and this is kind of a follow-up to my last review. I'm gonna be reviewing the 2014 follow-up to the 1976 film, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, also known as The Town That Dreaded Sundown. But yeah, ways to describe this film is, it's not... it's kind of a sequel. It kind of is a sequel within a... Again, I don't know how to describe it. Actually, I wouldn't say it's a sequel, and I wouldn't say it's a reboot either. It's actually more of, yeah, like I said, a follow-up to The Town That Dreaded Sundown, because in this film, the movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown exists. So in a way, it's kind of like a movie within a movie thing, like, you know, how the Human Centipede did it, where in the second one, the first movie was a thing, and, you know, it's kind of like that. And it's honestly a very creative way to, you know, do like a follow-up to a film. But yeah, this film is directed by Alfonso Gomez Rejon. I hope I pronounced that right. But yeah, he's the guy who directs a lot of the episodes from American Horror Story. And he also directed the film that came out earlier this year, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. And he also did this one, of course. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy's work, but he, you know, he uses a lot of fast-paced editing in a lot of the stuff he directs. Like, everything he directs is just so fast-paced and there's so much going on, and, you know, it's just... I kind of like this, you know, his style, and it definitely keeps your interest, like, because it's, you know, there's a lot going on. But yeah, I really like this dude, and I think he's a great director, and I was really, you know, stoked to see that this film was directed by him, you know, the guy who did the American Horror Story episodes. So yeah, as I mentioned, this film is a follow-up to the original 1976 film, where it takes place 65 years after, you know, the killings in the town of between the town between the border of Arkansas and Texas. I still don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, it takes place 65 years after the events that took place there, like the real life events, not the film. The film came out in 1976, the events came out in 1946. This takes place 65 years after the events of the, you know, the real-life killings. And as I mentioned before, this movie, the 1976 movie, exists in this movie. So, you know, the movie actually starts off with people in a drive-in, you know, watching the original film, which is a really neat touch if you ask me. This movie, of course, takes place in modern day, and the killer, or a killer specifically, ends up, you know, killing people in this town again. And, you know, he's just on the rampage again and killing people at that same Lover's Lane area. But this movie actually follows a specific person, a girl whose name I forget in the film, but it follows her, and she's the main character, and you're just kind of seeing her story and seeing her trying to catch this killer and learn more about him. And yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. So it's a little different than the original one. Like, you actually kind of have like a straightforward plot and story, and you actually have a main character this time, whereas in the 1976 one there were like a whole bunch of characters you were kind of following. I really like the idea of this film. Like, if there were ever a sequel to this movie, I am so glad that they decided to go with, you know, an idea like this, because this is like the perfect idea, especially for a movie like The Town That Dreaded Sundown. But yeah, this is a really great direction they went towards, and, you know, also in this one, the way they filmed it is very neat. As I mentioned, the film is very fast-paced, much like the first couple seasons of American Horror Story, where, you know, they were like really fast-paced, like especially in the first season. I don't know if you guys watched that show, but the editing, like, you know, everything about it's like really fast-paced, and there's so much going on in every episode, which makes, you know, what makes the series so great. And it's the same exact thing for this movie. Everything happens so fast, but, you know, it's kind of a good thing that it happens so fast, because, you know, in a way, the movie, like, really keeps your interest throughout the whole thing. Also, the violence in here is, like, really violent. But no, the violence in here is, like, actually, it's pretty gruesome stuff. Like, some of the violence in here is pretty messed up, and I guess that's a good thing considering that it's, you know, a slasher film. But yeah, if you guys have a weak stomach, then watch out for this one. It's pretty gruesome. But yeah, I thought the main chick did a pretty good job. Everybody in the movie did a pretty good job, and again, I really liked the way they, you know, the direction they went towards to, you know, make a follow-up to the original 1976 one, because this is such a great idea. And I love the whole, you know, killer coming back after 65 years kind of thing, although I'm pretty sure that the city is not too fond of that idea. In fact, I think they'd probably hate this movie, considering that there were real-life killings 65 years ago, but, Yeah, despite a couple of problems here and there, this is actually like a really solid sequel, and I am highly recommending that you guys check this movie out, especially if you are a fan of the first one. I'm sure that if you like the first one, then you will definitely love this one. But yeah, guys, 2014, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, like I said, is a pretty solid, did I call it a sequel? I keep doing that. I keep calling this movie sequel, even though it's not necessarily a sequel, a follow-up. That's what I'll use for now. The Town That Dreaded Sundown, the 2014 one, is a pretty solid follow-up to the original one, and personally, I really loved it. I'm going to give the film a 4 out of 5. It's not, of course, as great, you know, as the first one, and it doesn't hold up as much as the original one does, but it's still, like, a very good follow-up. Like, I really, really like this movie. Although I do suggest that you guys watch the original one before you see this one, because, you know, there is definitely, you know, some stuff that you kind of have to see in order to kind of understand what's going on, you know, in this movie. Because what I noticed in this movie is that the killer copycats a lot of the killings in the original film. Like, for example, there's a scene in the original one where he kills a lady by sticking a knife, I believe, in a trombone, and then he plays the trombone, and the knife comes and, you know, kills her. And in this one, they do that exact same killing. So it's like, you know, it copycats all of the killings from the original one, which I thought was pretty neat. But the thing with the trombone, like, when that part comes, like, it seems very, like, irrelevant, like, and unnecessary, because he's literally just killing these people, and then he, you know, takes out a trombone from nowhere, puts a blade in, and kills him. Like, it's like, that really had nothing to do with anything. And it really doesn't make sense unless you watch the first film. So, yeah, like I said, definitely watch the original one before you see this one. But yeah, like I said, it's a very solid follow-up. I really liked it. I really liked the idea of this movie, and it kept me entertained, definitely. And I really liked the director, and yeah, that's about it. Alright guys, check out The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Both of the films are very great. I am a huge fan of both of those personally. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jacob Palacio, and I will see you guys later.